Hey Raiders, how are you? Today we've got a lot to talk about because Arc Raiders is entering a really interesting phase. On one hand, Embark has openly talked about high value or premium rates, the idea of gear restricted matchmaking, and how they feel about free loadouts. And on the other hand, we finally have the Escalation Roadmap for early 2026, which gives us the clearest long-term picture we've had so far of where Arc Raiders is heading. Just to be clear up front, this isn't a breaking news video. The roadmap dropped a couple of days ago. This is about connecting the dots, looking at the roadmap, leaks, and direct comments from the developers to understand where the game is actually going. So, let's break this down properly. January kicks off with Escalation, and there's already a potential game changer here. The key additions are a new matchmaking option for level 40 plus players, a new minor map condition, and a new player project. That level 40 plus matchmaking alone could dramatically shift raid dynamics, pushing higher skill and higher gear players together, and possibly laying the groundwork for more selective or higher risk raid systems later on. But the most interesting part here is that minor map condition, because all signs point toward the Toxic Swamp event. And what's this? Well, this hasn't been officially announced by Embark yet, but it's been heavily data mined by the Arc Raiders community. Multiple leaks, including posts from Reddit user Inquisitor Overhauls, show references to swamp-based environments planned after the cold snap. Originally, leaks suggested the Toxic Swamp might go live around January 19th, right as cold snap ended. That didn't happen. The trials for that week were changed instead. So right now there is no release date confirmed, but the timing lines up perfectly with headwinds. What makes this event especially interesting is that it doesn't seem to be just poison. Data mine trial descriptions mention thermal rocks, which strongly suggests geysers, volcanic or geothermal terrain, and environmental heat damage layered on top of toxicity. So, instead of a simple poison swamp, this could be a stacked environmental hazard. And here's the really important part. These environmental effects likely don't affect Arc machines nearly as much as they affect players. That means the environment itself becomes an enemy. PvE pressure increases significantly, and human players are punished just for existing in the space. In other words, the map naturally tilts in favor of the Arc. And that lines up perfectly with Embark's recent design direction: harder PvE, more tension, and more preparation required. This also raises an important question. Are events like Toxic Swamp meant to be equalizers, or are they filters? Because toxic, hit-heavy environments punish free loadouts, destroy unprepared players, and reward planning, meds, resistances, and proper gear, which quietly feeds into the larger discussion about high value rates and gear expectation. February ramps things even further with Shrouded Sky. What's coming? A new major map condition, a new arc thread, a player project, a new radar deck, a map update, and a new expedition window. We still don't know the expedition requirements, and that's important, because expeditions remain one of the most controversial systems in the game when it comes to cost, risk, and accessibility. But one thing is clear: expeditions aren't going anywhere. They are becoming a core pillar of Arc Raiders. On March, we have Flashpoint. The additions include another major map condition, another new arc thread, a player project, and a mysterious Scrappy update. That Scrappy update could be huge. If it expands resource gathering, crafting, or progression systems, it would directly address one of the community's biggest requests, especially when it comes to sustaining higher tier play without burning through resources. April is clearly the centerpiece of this entire roadmap. Riven Tides includes a brand new map, seemingly beach themed, a new large arc on the level of the Queen or Matriarch, a new major map condition, and another expedition window. A new map alone would massively change the day-to-day experience. Add a third large arc into the mix, and suddenly the endgame loops expands significantly. more targets, more risk, and more reasons to gear up. Taken together, Escalation sets a very clear tone for Arc Raiders' future. PvE is getting harder and more varied. Matchmaking is becoming more selective. Player progression is starting to matter more. High risk, high reward systems are clearly on Embark's mind, and that brings us to the most divisive topic in the community: free loadouts, late spawns, and the high value rate debate. Few topics split the Arc Raiders community more than free loadouts. Some players see them as essential to the game's identity, a way to keep the game accessible and a safety net for learning and experimentation. Others see them as a balance nightmare, a source for reckless, nothing-to-lose aggression, something that undermines risk versus reward. Because of that, two solutions constantly come up: forcing free loadout players to spawn late, or adding high value rates with minimum year requirements. So, naturally, this question was asked directly to Virgil Watkins, Arc Raiders design lead. Have Embark discussed year-restricted rates? Yes, they absolutely have. According to Watkins, Embark has discussed special rates that require a minimum level of year to enter. Different ideas have been explored: loadout value thresholds, special entry requirements, and systems similar to Escape from Tarkov's labs. So, the idea of a raid with a metaphorical "you must be this year to enter" sign is not new internally, but, and this is the key part, Embark is very careful about this. The biggest concern is splitting the player base too much. Watkins has explained that Embark wants to avoid situations where friends can't play together. One player meets the requirements and the other doesn't. Players feel hard-locked out of the content they won't at least attempt. This doesn't mean high value raids are off the table, it means they need to be implemented extremely carefully. In theory, the system is pretty straightforward. Imagine a variant of an existing map, appearing as a part of the hourly map condition rotation, with a minimum starting loadout value, say 40,000 coins. If your starting year doesn't hit that value, you simply can't queue for that raid. For context, free loadouts are estimated around 4,000 to 5,000 coins, so this would be a massive step up but not unreachable. And what's the result? Everyone in the raid has something worth looting. Every fight actually matters, and there's no random Stitcher players dropping from the ceiling with nothing to lose. As Watkins puts it, you want to feel like you're coming in loaded, and you know everybody else is loaded too. The trade-offs. Of course, these systems comes with consequences. The pros include less free loadout players with reckless aggression and higher tension with higher stakes. In trade-off, the cons are PvP aggression may actually increase, friction when friends aren't equally progressed, and potential abuse of the value system with expensive but useless items. So, while the idea is appealing, it's not a simple switch to flip. So, my conclusions for this video are: Embark isn't ignoring the player feedback, they are just being careful. High value rates make sense, gear-restricted content makes sense, but splitting the community too aggressively could hurt the game long term. And with Escalation rolling out month by month, it feels like Arc Raiders is building towards something bigger, rather than rushing into drastic changes. So, now I want to hear from you. Would you want high value rates with your requirements, or do you think free loadouts and open matchmaking are essential to Arc Raiders' identity? Let me know in the comments down below. Before we finish the video, I just want to take a second to say thank you. The support on these Arc Raiders videos lately have been genuinely insane. The likes, the comments, the long discussions, even the disagreements, that's the best part. A lot of you have been leaving really thoughtful comments, correcting things, adding extra content, or sharing your own raid experiences. And that actually makes these videos better. So seriously, thanks to everyone who subscribed recently, thanks to everyone who drops a like, and especially thanks to the people who take the time to write support comments. I really appreciate you. And that's it for today's video. I hope you really liked it, and see you in the next one.